the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Because both are on hot starts, both are not the best in the conference. Like we look at I think it's just going to be really hard to take down the Celtics in the East, and it's going to be really hard to take down the Nuggets in the West if they're both healthy. But that number 2 spot, it seems like the Sixers and the Wolves have jumped out to some really strong starts. I think they're both going to win 50-plus games, it looks like. Who are you a bigger believer in over the long-term stretch run here in the East and the West, and who do you think, or do you think they both could be a long-term playoff Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals run?
So I'm going to surprise myself here and go against my basketball sensibilities, because I have been something of, I wouldn't say a Wolves hater, but a Wolves doubter. Like last season when they made before last season when they made the trade, I was like, this is a play-in team and maybe borderline not play-in team. And they're kind of the sexy pick of, they're going to be the 3 or 4 seed, that they're going to be a really good regular season team, and then come playoff time, maybe they'll struggle. And I was like, I do not see this fit here. I do not like Gobert and Towns together. Kind of out on Towns. Anthony Edwards, I'm still high on, but like I think he still has a couple steps to take. And I was kind of proven right. They ended up being an 8 seed, although I think they gave Denver a pretty competitive first round series. And then kind of again entering this season, they were the sexy pick of like all the stat models were like, Wolves 2 seed, Wolves 3 seed, and I was like, I just don't see it, but I was wrong. And so I'm buying in on the Wolves. I think if you look at the West right now, outside of Denver, like no one is really impressing me. We just talked about Lakers are 500. The Clippers have lost 6 games in a row, including 5 with James Harden. The Grizzlies have completely collapsed without Ja and some of the injuries that they've had. Dallas has been impressive, but I kind of want to see a little bit more of that and see that sustain.
Warriors have lost 4 straight.
Now Draymond's out, and you've seen some flashes from them, but they haven't been consistent. So
they don't have the depth. I don't think they have the depth to make it.
I just look at the West, and it's like it's kind of up for grabs outside of Denver. And that's a big caveat, of course, because I would say Denver's the heavy West favorite, but Minnesota's actually matched up pretty well.
They beat them.
Denver. They just beat them. Several people from the Denver side said that Minnesota was their toughest matchup in the playoffs. And I think a lot of people took that as like a shot at the Lakers, like a backhanded shot. But I think there was something to that of like Gobert and Towns as a combo. Like that is the type of size and length that you want in the paint against Jokic, against Aaron Gordon. So I think Minnesota has a chance to establish themselves as the second best team in the West long term, which is, to me, kind of a crazy statement, but that's how things are. I mean, the biggest thing to me is Ant has taken the step. Like he has looked like a top 10 guy this season. And again, he's got to sustain that the rest of the way, but he has it. He kind of has that it factor. So I look at Minnesota as legit. With Philly, I think both can. If you told me Philly makes an Eastern Conference Finals run, I wouldn't be shocked by that. I think that the Harden trade has obviously worked out well for them. Maxey's taken that leap, and he's looking like an all-star. My one thing with Philly is I just think they've had so many, to me, like disappointing playoff moments over the last few years. Embiid is he kind of got some flack last postseason, but Embiid has kind of been at the center of some of that stuff. Like it's been easy to put some of it on Harden or Ben Simmons, but I think Embiid's playoff resume is sneakily underwhelming. And I think I want to see more from him in a playoff situation before I can really say Philly can come out of the East. And then I'm also just really high on Boston, and I think Milwaukee's going to figure it out. So I would say Philly to me is more of a distant third and has a bit of a gap there with those two teams. Whereas Minnesota, to me, yes, there's probably a solid gap between them and Denver, but the rest of the West, they could easily be that 2 seed and have a pretty good shot of at least making the conference finals.
That's interesting. I think the Sixers are a distant 2. I think the East is I think the Celtics are a distant 1. The Sixers are a distant 2, and then I think the rest of the East is just the Hawks are fun. I mean,
are you out on Milwaukee?
I am out on Milwaukee.
Okay.
I think there's just the weird stuff with Terry Stotts
need
to
to
begin
make
the
a
year,
trade.
jumping
They need to
out.
make a
I
trade,
think
I think.
Middleton might be cooked. I think there might be something where they can't make a deep run without Middleton being an all-star. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to survive on the perimeter. And I mean, Dame's defense is bad. And I don't think they can save this season. I think they're actually, like, with Giannis, the floor is extremely high still. But, like, do I think they're going to be able to win 3 playoff rounds in the East? No, I don't. I think they're kind of.
You're not buying Malik Beasley as Drew Holiday?
No. I mean, he was glitching on the court
that?
last week. Like, I mean,
he referred to himself as the new Drew Holiday.
yeah, that's not happening. No, I don't think that's coming. Yeah, so I think and then you see like the reports of like Caruso around the league would make a lot of sense for Milwaukee, and I'm like, what do they have left to give up? And also, like, I don't think Caruso's solving those problems. Like, I think they have a wing problem.
I think he would help, but like,
you have a Chris Middleton problem. Like, the gamble on Chris Middleton, I think, is ultimately going to, unfortunately, do them in, is because this all works if Chris is still an elite guy you can count on week over week. But I think at this point, I would not bet on Chris Middleton to be an all-star for 2 straight months in the playoffs anymore. Would you?
No.
And then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's something to just the top end talent with Dame and Giannis.
But what do you do against the Celtics with those wings? Like, they have nothing to throw at them. Like, you're getting toasted.
They do have a Boston problem.
Yeah.
Even and that partly is a Chris Middleton problem. But like, that was my thing looking at the roster, was I just don't see how you, and especially, I mean, we'll see how Adrian Griffin approaches it. But historically, they have not been willing to put Giannis on wings. They've kind of, not put him on that primary matchup. So if they do that, I mean, that is a lot for him to do defensively, in addition to all he does offensively and just kind of in general. So we'll see if they approach that differently. But I think they do, like, they're a team that needs to make a trade and needs to upgrade their perimeter defense and athletic, like kind of like the Lakers and to some extent.
Yeah. Final thing here, standings watch. Which record surprises you the most?